Welcome to Krav Life. My name is Paul Simos, and today on Train to Fight, I'm interviewing Mr. Amnon Darsa. He's one of the OGs of this industry, so it's going to be a great episode. You're definitely going to want to tune in. Now, did you know that we've created a special Krav Maga community? It's a community where you can network and discuss everything Krav related with other Kravists from all over the world. And best part, it's free. Just go to mykravlife.com and sign up for the community. And while you're there, be sure to check out our directory of Krav Maga studios from all over the world and find a place to train. So without further ado, here's Mr. Darsa. All right. So, welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. And so where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling from Israel, Kfar Saba, the city where I live in Israel, in the Middle East, at the corner of the Middle East.
Nice. And I suppose it's like super cold there, like it's snowing and all that stuff?
No. Here it's autumn. We have around 15 degrees. In the night, it will go down to maybe 14 degrees. But in the day, it will be 20, 24. That's autumn for us.
That's autumn for you?
Yeah.
All right. So 15 degrees.
Celsius, yes, not Fahrenheit.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure that out for our American friends. That's 59 degrees Fahrenheit for our American listeners. All right, sir. So let's dig in a little bit about who you are and how you got started. So for the people that don't know who you are, can you just kind of introduce yourself a little bit and like what your organization is and all that stuff?
Okay, my name is Amnon Darsa. I am the owner, head instructor of S.M.A.R.T. Krav Maga. I've been doing Krav Maga for training for around, I should do the math, but 35 years, more or less, a little bit more than that. And been teaching it about 30 years. And my main job is basically going around the world teaching Krav Maga to instructors, civilians, special units, law enforcement, you name it, I'm doing it. That's it. That's my job, except of COVID, I had to stay home a little bit.
Yes, of course. No, that's a pretty cool spectrum of teaching credentials teaching that you do. But let's start at the beginning. How was Krav Maga the first thing that you did, or were you involved in other martial arts first?
No, Krav Maga was not the first thing I did. As a kid, my parents were very big believers in after-school activities. So as kids, we should have chosen a physical activity and an art activity. Mm-hmm. And so, I was doing swimming, I did basketball, I played with a guy called Doron Sheffer, if you have heard about him. He was a basketball player in America, a little bit, one of the biggest names in basketballs in Israel. And next to it, some kind of art, so piano lessons, whatever in that realm. And soon enough, I figured out that those things are not for me. The playing is more for me. And then I went into judo. I started judo quite young, like 6 or 7. I did 2 years of judo, but it was too slow for me. And then I went to swimming, basketball, which was a little bit faster. And actually, I started Krav Maga at the age of 13 out of necessity. Okay. Which means that we just moved with my parents, of course. We moved to a new neighborhood, which was not such a good neighborhood back in the days. And there was this bus that was going in Kfar Saba between all the neighborhoods and taking kids to school. Right. And we were basically all studying in 2 schools in the same area. But in the bus, there were gangs. So each neighborhood had his little gang. And if you had the misfortune, let's call it, of going on the bus and you were alone or two of you from your neighborhood, you got smashed from whoever was the biggest gang there.
Wow.
And, we're talking about kids, 12, 13, not so good neighborhood in this route. And when my neighborhood, we were like 4 or 5, so we were smashing other guys because it's revenge, of course. And in one of the days, one of our friends comes in because after school we were always meeting together. He comes to us and says, guys, you have to join me. I tried this cool stuff. You learn how to kick and punch each other and you hit. It's called Krav Maga. You have to come and do this. And we were a gang of 5. Of course, we all joined that classes. And I was the only one, after 2 years, I was the only one who stayed because I hooked. And that's it. That's basically this. I started 13, and since then I haven't stopped studying, learning, and training Krav Maga. Through the years, I went through different instructors. I had basically 2 instructors. My first instructor was a guy called Miki Asulin. He's retired now. He has some small thing. Didn't do much. And the other one is Eyal Yanilov, the head of KMG today. But back then it was the Krav Maga Association, the original association that the IMI created. And then there was the IKMF created around the 90s, I should say, somewhere around there. And in 2010, I think, was created the KMG. And through the years, you can say from 94, 93, wait a minute, 94, no, even before 90, beginning of the 90, 89, I met Eyal. Back then I was studying in a military school, in a boarding school, and I wanted to continue training my Krav Maga. And my instructor told me, look, there is just next to you, it was in the north in Haifa where I studied, a guy called Eyal, go meet him, train with him. I started to train with him slowly, getting through my ranks. Back then it was the belt system actually. And, under his supervision, got to expert level. And in around 90, in the beginning, middle of the 90, let's say 94, 93, when he started to go around the world teaching Krav Maga, I said to myself, oh, that's an interesting thing to do with your life. Yeah. And I said to myself, okay, that will be my job also. And it took another 3 years until I got out of the military. I got out of the military in 94. Started, my specialized training to become a better instructor under Eyal. And 96 was actually my first project. He sent me to France somewhere. 3 months I was there, replacing an instructor in a club, instructor that fell ill. So I replaced him. And then, slowly I started to go around the world with him. So I was I like to call it Santa's little helper. He brought Krav Maga around the world, and a lot of the times I was there. Mm-hmm. So I did my apprentices under him for 3 years. So, I did the military courses with him, civilian courses with him, everything, seminars, everything I did with him. So he was the main instructor, I was a helping instructor, and slowly I would teach this technique, teach that, do a warm-up, things like this. Mm-hmm. And that's it. This is how I got my wings, and I did it until I became the first GIT, basically, the first global instructor, except him, because he was he was the one who was pushing everything, and I was the Santa's little helper. So when he could not go, I would go. And that's it. For years, I did this.
So what were some of the countries that you had the opportunity to teach in?
Well, let's start with Canada. I taught in Canada. A guy, maybe you heard the name, Marcus Torgensen from IKMF.
Yep.
I did this instructor course way back then in Canada. I was in America a few times. Let's go down the line: Panama, Mexico, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, moving on to Europe. I think I've done most of Europe. Take away the Eastern Bloc, but I've done also Russia and Poland and Czech Republic, Croatia, Italy, France, Belgium, Spain, Portugal. And on the other side, I've been I actually taught in China a little bit, India, Singapore, Hong Kong, of course, Australia. Sorry. You name it, I've been there. I think I was on 4 continents, not 5, because Antarctica, you don't teach penguins.
Not yet.
Not yet. You never know. They're clever little animals.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's awesome. That's definitely one of the best ways to gain the experience, right? So working with a diverse group of people under Eyal. And so what ended up happening in these organizations with you? Like, did you end up running any of them, or like what? Tell us about your...
Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Tell us about your experiences in these different organizations.
So let's do like this. The first association, the one IMI created, the Krav Maga Association, it was created by IMI because in Israel you need to have an association in order to be a part of the sports club, assembly, whatever. So he created the Krav Maga Association with his, back then, his top level instructors. So we're talking about people like Chaim Gidon, Chaim Zut, Eyal Yanilov, and a few others. Sorry. And Eyal was, let's call it the black sheep in the family. He was the youngest and the smartest. He's by trade an engineer. And the other guys were simple people from the hood. And there was a lot of conflicts between them. And then Eyal decided, okay, in Israel, it's too much of like a swamp. I'll go start pushing Krav Maga around the world. And for this, he started IKMF, International Krav Maga Federation. Sorry. To push Krav Maga around the world. And it started to develop slowly. Anyway, so IKMF was created, and every instructor has his own main students. So I was, me, Gabi, Eli Benami, Avi Moyal were the students of Eyal. So of course, we were his disciples and continued working with him. And a few years later, politics. It's usually politics and money. That's ego and money, I always say. It's ego and money that separates people. Or big organization like this, there was a big issue in the Krav Maga Association. And there was a separation between the Krav Maga Association and then IKMF went separate. Everything was good. IKMF continued to grow and became a little bit of a monster. What does it mean, a monster? Making a lot of money to the head guy, Eyal Yanilov, which pissed off Gabi and Avi Moyal. No, באמת. Sorry. This will not go well. I will cough my lungs out. And
let's hope your wife's not right, though.
I don't think it's transmitted through computer, but it's okay.
Oh yeah. It's a new.
Yes.
That would be a new variant.
Don't make me laugh.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so Gabi in one point decided he has enough. He left, and the reason he left because of money. And then Eyal tried. I was actually there. Eyal tried to get control over the IKMF, to control it correctly. and do whatever he wants. And I was there when he had the basic, the planning for the new logo and his backup plan, because he wanted IKMF. He didn't want to create KMG because the name IKMF was already really strong in the world. Mm-hmm. So he wanted IKMF. It didn't pan out. Avi Moyal managed to, I would say, trick the trickster and managed to get control over the IKMF and throw Eyal out. So Eyal created KMG because that was the second plan, the plan B, like they call it. And me and Zev Cohen and Tamir Gilad, sorry, were supposed to be his little minions, the next in line. And of course, we saw it as an opportunity to increase our level a little bit, not professionally, but until then we were basically employees. So we wanted a little bit extras, percentage, ego and money. Remember those two, ego and money, all the time. So we wanted a little bit more money. Ego, I had enough for ego. I still have enough ego. And money, it was just about money. And it blew up. The negotiation between us. In one point, there was lawyers involved and big boom, separated. And basically, what happened, make a long story short, Ze'ev stayed with Eyal. Me and Tamir went with Avi back to the IKMF. But as I knew myself and Avi, I knew that I would not be able to work with Avi too long.
Right.
It lasted about 3 years. And then came an opportunity for me and another instructor called Chaim Sasson and another businesswoman from Australia, actually, that Chaim knew or knows, to create another organization which was Krav Maga Core. We created that. Everything was pitchy, as always in the beginning, in marriage. Everything is pitchy. And then started all kinds of, again, ego and money. This time it was more ego. Mm-hmm. And it blew up again. And then I decided, okay, I've tried enough times. I'm going by myself. And now a few years ago, I created S.M.A.R.T. And this is my organization. I'm the boss. I'm making the decision. This way, I'm free from everybody else. And in this organization, I'm working dual head, as if there is me, the instructor, Amnon Darsa, which I have no problems teaching whoever in the world, whatever organization you want, high-level Krav Maga, call me, I'll come, do seminars, instructor course, whatever you like. And there is the organization S.M.A.R.T, S.M.A.R.T Krav Maga, that if you like the way I'm working, come join me and you will work under my supervision with my curriculum, with all the benefits and drawbacks that there is of being in a big organization, in a nice organization. And that's it. And what I like is that I have the privilege to choose who I'm working with.
Yeah.
This way, yes, no, thank you very much.
And how many, how widespread is S.M.A.R.T Krav Maga?
Growing all the time, let's put it this way. It's not really widespread. I have few guys in Germany, Belgium, France, Holland. In Australia, there is somebody. In Singapore, there is a guy. There's like a little bit of people. There's in Taiwan a guy also. People who saw me as their instructor. They want to learn from me, and they stay close, come to train all the time, and that's it.
Well, so you've been in Krav Maga a long time, right? Your Krav Maga experience predates everybody's in North America because it only got here in about the 90s. So how have non-political wise, how have you seen Krav Maga progress? Do you feel that Krav Maga is getting better, or do you feel that it's becoming watered down, or like what is your impression with how the industry is going?
Well, it's two things. In the past, when Krav Maga was small,
Mhm.
or let's say when it didn't break out of Israel, there was a lot of changes quite often. Definitely with the mindset when when it was the old, I call it the old IKMF under Eyal, there was special training for high level all the time. Every Friday we would train all the high level in Israel. We would train and dig into techniques and try to improve on them. And if somebody had an idea, he would bring it there and we would investigate those techniques. And that was, for me, one of the very cool things that happened. And in those times, I can pinpoint, let's say, two major things that happened. One, and everything was done, Eyal made it official, let's put it this way. And later on, other things happened. But first was the working by principles, like principles of inside defense, outside defense, plucking, all kinds of principles like this. So not teaching by techniques, defense against a punch, defense against a kick, a punch like this, a punch like that, but by principles of working. That was one. Second big thing is the understanding that if we talk about a street situation is never what happens in the dojo, in the training place. It is a very dynamic, high velocity training, or high velocity situation, I should say. And the moment you understand that, you need to train accordingly. You cannot train your basic technique because up until that understanding came through, we were training, it was basically techniques that we were doing against an opponent like they do in all martial arts.
Right.
Okay, I'm always giving the example of Aikido. Do like this, and then you get thrown away, or whatever happens to you. But an attacker in the street doesn't work like this. And if we take, we're talking about Israel. So a lot of knife attacks in the 90s, beginning of 2000, a lot of knife attackers, suicide bombers, suicide shooters. And one thing that came up, that the attackers didn't care who they killed, they just wanted to kill somebody. So it was very aggressive, repetitive, a lot of stabs, if we're talking about knife. So it is not just like beautiful technique that happens. It has to be dynamic. And when we started to train like this, and I remember when we started to train like this, it was a shock for me when we just started like this. Suddenly it was not one attack and the partner is playing along with you to help you make a good technique. No. Now the attacker's aim was to stab you. Of course, with a rubber knife or with a wooden knife, but or a stick. But his aim was to hit you and to do it repetitively. And it took us time to learn how to deal with this. So, of course, the level of aggression has to go higher. The technique goes a little bit to the side. Aggression takes place. Determination goes in. All the thing of also multiple attackers, for example. Being aware of what's happening to you after the fight. Okay, so for example, you're in the street. You defend yourself. You did the perfect technique, and then you start running without looking where you run. You run into the street, and the bus runs you over. And you're okay. You did a perfect technique, but you're still dead.
Yeah.
What came out of this? And then came in all the scanning, moving out of the line of attack and scanning the area for potential threats, potential attackers, potential dangers. All these kind of things that started to come in. And for me, it was like light bulbs that came up in the head. And since then, this is how I believe the Krav Maga should be. Definitely, if you're selling something that is for reality and to the street. So these are the main thing that made the Krav Maga bigger. The other side is that today, I would say the words Krav Maga became a catchphrase, meaning there's almost, I would call it McDojos in this.
Right.
And by the way, talking about in America, there was a lot of McDonald's. There was some kind of deal between a karate organization and a Krav Maga organization. I don't know exactly the details, but basically every karate instructors could do a 1 week course and become a Krav Maga instructor. But he was still doing his karate with a little bit of more fighting, or I don't know, and gave a really bad name to Krav Maga. And still today, there's a lot of instructors who call what they do Krav Maga, but it's a mixture of whatever they've done in the past. But Krav Maga is a good name and brings business, so they use it.
Yeah.
So nobody has control over the name Krav Maga except in Canada, which is a trademark and a protected word as far as I know. So, and by the way, also on this, in America, an organization tried to trademark the word Krav Maga and didn't succeed, actually, which is good. Otherwise, nobody in the world could have used the word Krav Maga. But today you see a lot of people who learn Krav Maga from I don't know where come to me and I'm like, and they tell me I'm this and that level, expert level, done 45. Okay, show me yourself. And you see a lot of things. You don't see a lot of Krav Maga. You see a person that is really enthusiastic about what he's doing, but Krav Maga, it's not. Not the way I know it, not the way I teach it, that's my main problem with this. And that's it. So, that's the bad side of being so successful. And we can blame Eyal on this because he did such a good work.
Yeah, if he didn't do such a good job.
Yeah, that's it.
Ugh, horrible person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your suggestions to help sort of fix this problem so that it doesn't get worse? Like, what can we do as a Krav Maga community?
I don't think there is anything to do right now.
Yeah.
Really, I would say, go to an instructor that comes from the big organization, but everybody will say I'm a big organization. For me, the big organizations, there's two, KMG and IKMF, which I know the level of the teaching there.
Right.
All the rest, the American ones, in Italy, somebody told me, in Italy, there is more than 30 Krav Maga organizations. Half of them never saw real Krav Maga. I cannot put them out of business. At the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
So the only thing I can say to students is make sure whoever is teaching you has a pedigree of some kind. Doesn't matter which organization. Go learn from someone. And of course, I saw a clip somebody sent me in a group of instructors in Israel about an instructor that is actually hitting his students. Like you see a big boy instructor hitting a woman. It's supposed to be like realistic training, and he's slapping her around. It's like, really? Are you for real? Saying this is the reality. I said, yeah, this is the reality, but still, in training, you don't do this. There's a limit.
Yeah, that was one of Ida Neblonik's students in the video.
I'm trying to be politically correct here.
Yeah,
but yes.
Yeah, it's that video blew up here as well, and there's lawsuits and stuff going on with it. It's I don't know. From my understanding, it was a little bit out of context too. Is that woman? There's always two sides, right? And that's what I try to do. I try to get both sides. So the other side that wasn't told is that woman signed up specifically for that class. Right, she knew what she was going into because of, and she was an advanced student. She's not a beginner or anything like that, and that she was signing up specifically for that because she's from South Africa, and she wanted to be prepared for the violent reality. She's actually come out and said that there was nothing wrong in that video, apparently. So, does that mean that it's an okay way to train? I don't know. And this is the whole thing, is that do we need to change the way we train for different areas? Like South Africa is majorly violent,
Yeah.
right? I interview a lot of people from South Africa, and it's like horror stories. I don't know how people still live there.
Yep.
So, I will never encounter what they encounter. So do I need to train the same way as them, or do I have to train differently? What are your thoughts on that? Should we be training differently in different areas?
There is a place for this.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. But there is also a way to do it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, let's talk about this video.
Yep.
It's really easy to put a banner on the video saying blah, 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 blah about the training.
Yeah.
Close everything. And with 2 or 3 sentences, you close all the problems that can happen. That's one. Second thing I would say, at the end of the day, self-defense is about being aware to what happens to you. Mm-hmm. If, I'm always saying this to my students, if you are with your headphones, I say to also to my daughter, I have a 17-year-old daughter. She loves her iPhone and she loves music, and she's always with earbuds listening to music. I'm telling her, look, I have no problems. Enjoy music. But when you're walking in the street, it's basic self-defense not to get run over by a car. Forget about being attacked. So instead of having it in full volume, less. Right. When you go to a crossing, take one out. So you will be aware and you will be connected to what happens to you. If it's at night, maybe you don't put it on. So you're aware of what's going on around you, because this will stop everything. Mm-hmm. Okay? Because once you're aware and you see it coming, it's done. It's not going to happen. Okay? This is the the major thing people don't understand. I think attackers look for victims.
Right.
Okay? If you are a victim, you are going to get attacked. The attacker will choose you because you're a victim. What is a victim? I don't know. Because every attacker attacks somebody that fits his victim type. I have a friend, I'm telling the story all the time. He was in Brazil, I think, walking with another friend of his in a big market, and they were a separate part, like 2-3 meters away. Each one was on the phone. And this guy is an ex-special unit, Krav Maga instructor, was working a little bit as a bodyguard in the Israeli Secret Service. A guy who can fight and can defend himself. And still, because he was on the phone in a different country, he got surprised. Somebody came to him from the side, put a gun to his side, and told him, give me your phone, give me your money, nice and easy. Nobody saw the gun, he just felt it. And that's it. And what happened? He tried to be smart. He tried to do something. The attacker was smarter than him. Luckily for him, he didn't get shot. The attacker immediately put him, relaxed him. He was prepared. The next thing that big fighter did was give him his cell phone, give him his money, and bye-bye.
Yeah.
And that's it. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not ready, you don't see what happens, you are going to get fucked. Sorry, pardon my French.
No
but
problem.
You are going to get fucked.
Yeah.
And talking about South America, yes, and there are places there that I heard that there are, at night there is signs on the crossing and the red light, do not stop. Just continue. Red lights, do not stop, continue. You don't see this in Europe, but there is a reason why. Yeah. Okay? So when I was there and I was teaching in Pretoria, I was teaching courage seminar, but I did whatever I do everywhere in the world when I'm teaching it. First thing, when you have a fear that something like this happens, you lock your doors automatically. So today, every car locks automatically. Okay, back then, I'm talking to you about 20 years ago when I was there. So you press a button and you lock the whole doors. And the windows are up. And, whenever you see a suspicious person, you just go. You don't wait. You don't check. Okay, and you don't stop in places that are problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Another example, I was teaching in Panama. I did a special course in Panama. And we were 3 instructors, me, a Krav Maga, and 2 shooting instructor, tactical instructor. And the local guys told us, look, guys, you are 3 white people in a big SUV. Don't be with the open windows. Do not put your hands out, because we all had this kind of G-Shock beautiful watches, and they were telling us, somebody will come with a big machete, will chop your hand off just for your watch.
Wow.
So, close the freaking window. And what we did, nice people, closing the window, there is air conditioning in the car. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
When you are aware, you do prevention. So if you can prevent, that's the best self-defense. Nothing will happen to you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. 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 That's the most important part of self-defense, is everything that happens before any sort of attack or assault, right?
Yeah.
So it's, if you can avoid it or de-escalate it or get out of there, that's the goal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes Krav Maga different from other martial arts that are more
Exactly.
they're more focused on the fighting aspect, when we have to be focused on both. So for you, how do you spend a lot of time in your classes on awareness, and what sort, like, do you run your students through awareness drills? Like, do you do that sort of stuff? Yeah.
Every time I'm teaching a technique, doesn't matter which technique.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We start with a small game of prevention, like a warm-up type of. So let's take a trivial subject like chokes and headlocks. Okay.
Okay.
So I will do the little warm-up, and then we'll start to play a game. Sometimes it will be 1 against 1. Sometimes it will be everybody against everybody. I will play with this depending on the level of the group. You're trying to catch everybody. So let's say you're a group of 15 guys or 15 people. Each one has to attack at least 1 time all the people in the room, all the other 14 guys. Try to catch them, and everybody should not get caught. This is basic prevention. Seeing around you, looking around you all the time. So you see people walking, we call it the sprinkler effect. You always look like this. You always turn like this, and you don't give the back to anybody, and you're very careful. Mm-hmm. Good, very good. Then we go to the technical part. So we do choke from the front, choke from the side, headlock from the front, headlock, whatever. We work on techniques. And at the end of that session, we will train eyes closed, 1 attacker. We will train, again, eyes closed. When the attacker is catching you, you do a release, and then he tries to hit you or kick you. Or we will do an exercise, again, everybody against everybody. Just to get them aware of what's happening around them. Not only the technique. The only technique is nice, it's beautiful, but it's not reality. No. Being aware. So you can understand, I'm sandwiching the technique between 2, I would say, awareness drills, prevention drills, lower level and higher level. Lower level at the beginning, higher level in the end, with coming back attacker, a secondary attacker. And it can be as simple as you get a choke from the front, you do a prevention, you work by 3. 1 is the defender, eyes closed, he's getting an attack from the front, he was not ready, he's making the technique, and then the second attacker is coming in with the pad, and he has to stop the guy with the pad before he hits him. Simple technique like this, simple drill like this, sorry. Okay, or you do it with the eyes open, and then the 2 attackers, the one who's supposed to grab and the one who's supposed to hit with the pad, are circling around you all the time, and you have to be aware of them without moving, for example. At the moment one of them is starting, this is the beginning of the drill. So let's say the guy with the pad is attacking, so you hit him or you run away from him, and then the other guy, has to try and attack you. And if you're not there, you're not there. If you attack the pad, so he has a chance. Are you aware of the other guy? And then you see people starting to work tactically. I don't have to say anything about tactic. I just have to put the second attacker there. The moment the second attacker is there, they will be aware of him because in their head they think about him. And they will do by themselves. You will see them move away. They will see them look and kick to the guy. A lot of things. But they get this into the system. And for me, this is super important. Because, you don't see dojo type of work in the street.
No.
Okay, you see, and the more poor the country, the better the attackers are, because they don't want to kill you, they don't want to injure you, they want to get your money, your cell phone, whatever. Again, another clip I saw. There's a lot of things like this. Somebody is standing, I don't remember where, something, big terrace, something like this, middle of the city. He's talking on the phone. A guy comes behind him, takes him in a headlock from behind, chokes him. Two other guys come from both sides. One takes the phone, the other one goes through the pocket. Within less than 5 seconds, it was over. They released the guy. The guy is, falling, fainted on the floor. People didn't even react. They were already gone, the attackers.
Wow.
What do you expect? So when you're like this on the phone in a place that you don't know what's going on, and don't tell me people are not aware when they go visit some place that it can happen. Every time when I'm a tourist somewhere, I know I'm a target.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking my precautions. You will not see me like this in the phone. You will not see me. If I'm like this in the phone, I have my back on the wall, okay? And I'm like, the phone is like this. You'll snatch the phone from my hand. Good luck for you. Congratulations. But I will have visibility. That's it. And I will not have my earbuds. Call me paranoid. I hate walking with earbuds in the street talking. I don't do it.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. Call it paranoid after too many years of training Krav Maga or knowing this. I don't do it. Simple as that.
Well, those are some interesting some drill. So I like those drills that you're talking about, and definitely some good advice for our listeners. So if you're available for seminars, so if someone wanted to get into contact with you to have you over into their country or wherever to do a seminar, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Send me an email. Send me a
Send you an
WhatsApp.
email. Oh, perfect.
Google my name, AmnonDarsa.com. This is my website. My email is even easier, AmnonDarsa@gmail.com. It doesn't get any easier than that.
All right.
And then it's about the conditions, the timing, and doing it. I'm happy to meet new people and train people who wants to train. This is my job. This is what I'm enjoying doing. I don't call it even a job. It's too much fun.
It's too much fun. Do you take international students as well, like people visiting Israel to train with you?
Yeah, of course. I'm doing pre-COVID. Hopefully now we start because finally they release in Israel the tourism. But yes, I would have at least once a year a group of people coming in, training. Usually we do like tour and travel, tour and train, whatever you want to call it. Visiting a few days, training a few days, do one day, depending on the plan, whatever. I want to do one in Eilat. It's really nice, but this has to be in autumn or in spring for the people from Europe and from the cold countries. Otherwise, Eilat is too hot.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, I've had a great time talking with you, and hopefully I can get you back on the show at some other time to further a conversation.
Yeah, it would be great.
All right. Well, you have yourself I guess it's a good evening over there.
Yep. Good evening. And have a good day. And thank you for having me. It was great to talk to you. And until next time.
Exactly. All right. Have a great night.
Bye.
All right.